Alright, so in today's video, I got the Platinum Trophy on the Order 1886. Now, this game has been suggested to me by a ton of people over the years because it's low-key an underrated banger. Back in 2015, it came out, so it's over a decade old now. But the Order 1886 was also developed by two studios named Ready at Dawn, more like Rest in Peace as of 2024, and then Santa Monica Studios, which is famous for, you know, some of the best PlayStation games ever made. Now, this game is also a bit controversial because the ratings of it, even to this day, are not great, and it's just sad to see because the vibe when playing this game is so unique. I genuinely have not played a game quite like it. But in total, the Order 1886's trophy list contains 22 total trophies with the Platinum. It takes on average 10 hours to beat, takes one playthrough, and has a rating of just 3 out of 10 for difficulty. There is unfortunately a lot of collectible trophies in this game, but that's really the only challenging part. Alright, so starting off this game, first I want to set up some lore because without it, nothing's really going to make any sense. But essentially, this game is set in London and we are a part of an order that fights against hybrids, whether it's werewolves, vampires, whatever evil presents itself. Yeah, this game is basically like Twilight, but with Giga Chads and explosions, so it's pretty fire. But the first stage of the Platinum Trophy, and really the only one, is you just play the game and get all the collectibles. The intro scene shows our main character named Grayson, or Sir Galahad, basically just getting tortured by a bunch of British soldiers for something he did. However, this is actually set in the future. God, I love games set in the future. But this torturing goes on for a while, almost 5 straight minutes of cutscenes with our boy just getting drowned over and over. And this game is very heavily infested with cutscenes, but a lot of them you do play inside of somewhat, so in my opinion, it does work. I know this was a complaint from some of the other media outlets back when, but finally we did get to actually play right here, and you escape the torture by some very impressive combat skills our boy has. After escaping, and then get a little tutorial into the basics, but it's mostly just us scattering around because poor guy has been tortured for like a month straight and has almost no strength left. However, to escape the catacombs, which is where we got put, you just simply open this gate and then hide even more. Eventually, we end up in an elevator with another guard, but we had a gun pointed to him, so he probably peed himself. However, spoiler, that gun has absolutely nothing in it. It's just an empty gun. Now, after riding the elevator to the top, he then yells at his boys to help, and they just shoot him. Unfortunately, those idiots didn't hit his weak spots, and we then fight for the gun, which I honestly don't know why we are because it has nothing in it, and this guy would soon find that out. What the fuck? You then wrestle this guy until snapping his neck in a very brutal manner. That got me kind of hard, I'm not gonna lie. After that, a Chad then shot at us, and this guy is a very major side character of the game who we will soon meet. But he wasn't shooting to kill, and all of these other people who look important are also other side characters who we also will meet here very shortly. And I'm not gonna lie, I know I joke around a lot in these videos, but I actually do love playing games when there's a flashback for the intro. I think it's just so neat to wonder how you ended up there and all that. But all in all, this intro just ends with our boy dropping a cold line and then jumping down into the water below. So that's the intro completed for the Order 1886. Now, you don't get any trophies, unfortunately, for any chapter completions in this game until beating it. So spoiler, I wouldn't really get any trophies for about 3 hours of gameplay. We gotta lock in, boys. Now, moving on with the story, the real game then opens up, and for the first few chapters, not all that much actually occurs. You do end up meeting this girl named Isabella, or Izzy, and she low-key turns into a massive bitch by the end of this game. I can't look at her the same. She also kind of has this same facial structure as Eleven from Stranger Things, and yeah, I just can't look at her seriously either. Truly a double homicide. But anyways, a few moments after meeting up with her, you begin the first sort of job we had today, which was to just hunt down and take out all of these prisoners and escapees that got out of confinement. And for the next few minutes, you go through numerous rooms eradicating the threat at hand. You also should sort of be trying to work on the various combat trophies of this game because you can't get them all done in a single playthrough. But after that, you then walk into the next major side character, and this is that same guy who shot us in the intro. However, his name is Marquez, by the way, and I probably just butchered that name, and I probably butchered every name so far in this game, but it's fine. Now, after meeting up with the lads, we actually decided to split up because the enemies are in every corner of this joint, and we got sent down to the sewers or just the underground of London. Now, while down here, we also would encounter the first hybrid werewolf thing of the game, and these things are horrifying. They quite literally just crawl out of their human body and grow into a monstrosity right before our eyes. However, fighting them is actually just more scary than it is hard, because all you have to do is kind of just hit them a few times, and then they kind of just sit on the ground crying. Low-key bitch made. All you have to do then is just press triangle to finish them off. So yeah, the tiny hybrids are 100% just bark and no bites. Now, that isn't the same story later on in this game, but for now, it's not bad. Now, after fighting those first few ones, a hybrid does end up making it away, and we have to chase it down through the city before reaching this finale scene where you need to charge up this laser gun and hit it before it attacks this lady. I would not do that right, and our friend got completely mauled. Yes, this game does have these scenes whenever a death or you mess up occur. 2015 truly was goated. So then it reset me before that, and I didn't miss twice because I never do. So then the gang converses with each other about how the hell hybrids are this deep in our area and how there is so many of them. I sense a bit of suspicious activities happening, wink wink. So then you meet up with our squad leader named Sir Percival, which is like the continuous name for our leader of the order that we are part of. It's not his actual name, but he pretty much just tells us to stop hunting the hybrids for now because a council meeting was adjourned. So then you have to sit through this meeting, and I'm not gonna lie, the meeting was full of idiots, and the people running the order are pretty dumb, which will affect us a lot at the ending of the game. After that, there was then numerous cutscenes between different characters, including this one guy named Lucan, who is Isabella's brother and also a part of the order. But then you just meet up with Nikola Tesla, shout out to the GOAT, and you explore his lab, see his cool inventions. He also made us a gun. You'll love to see it. But then we finally do get to play again, and this next slew of chapters had us hunting down the Rebels. The Rebels is this organization who was fighting the Order and also the hybrids. So they aren't really bad guys. We just kind of assume they are because, I mean, they call themselves rebels. What do you want from us? Long story short, we end up finding their hideout in a brothel because, I mean, what better location to reside in? Can't show much though because there was a lot of penises out, and yes, they were indeed out. Santa Monica Studios, if you can show penises in this game, I better see that Kratos cracking in the next God of War, that's all I'm saying. However, there was then a chase scene for a while until eventually we do fight the rebels. And it's not just a quick little, five-guy orgy. No, we had to brawl with these people. I even ended up dying in the first major combat encounter because of how many enemies just kept on rolling in. So yeah, you again just fight and fight and fight. At some point, you also get given a very cool, pellet thermite gun that sets people on fire from very far away. I'm not sure what kind of tech this is, but it was pretty dope. After a load of fighting rebels, however, you end up going back underground to search for, again, more rebels. And even maybe hybrids if we are lucky. And luck did strike us because we found one, but not just any normal hybrid, an elder, which basically just means they are bigger, older, stronger, and much harder to kill. And our boy here would end up getting destroyed countlessly by this monster. It ran away for a few seconds because of some sound thing we did, but then we ran to Isabella, who was trapped behind this door. However, right when getting to her, the elder hybrid showed up again, and you then fight it in a very cool melee interaction. We had to dodge, do a quick time event, all of the above to beat him. After many moments of fighting, ultimately what happens is we don't really win, and Isabella ended up coming in to save the day. However, in doing this, she also suffered a complete body break. Yeah, that motherfucker lifted her up and snapped her in half. Called that the Mia Khalifa. We then awoke from slumber time and hit the thing like 3 or 4 times with an axe, and then it dies. This is some BS. So yeah, Isabella is now dead. I'm just kidding. All the members of the order have this vial of healing liquid that instantly heals you upon drinking it. So we ended up saving her after all. We then meet up with everybody again after that ordeal, and we began to conspire why there were so many goddamn hybrids here and why the rebels seem to be just everywhere. Ultimately, what ends up happening is that we suspect that some people are traitors within our ranks. So we devised a plan to sneak aboard a very important airship which holds a lot of very important people heading around for business. And this also included some of our order and ally friends. Now our job was to find out who the traitors are on this ship and to stop them. So the first step in this was to take control of the ship, and we did it very easily with a blue smoke bomb that tasted like the blue raspberry slushy from the movie theaters. And it just put all the enemies to sleep with peace. You then have to sneak into the ballroom because this is where Lord Hastings is at. And this is the guy we suspect will be attacked here because he's very important. And sure enough, we were right, but thankfully we were there to stop it. So then there's just fighting with the rebels over and over and over. We end up also getting separated from one of our homies who was also our leader after a fight in the kitchen. But we would end up re-meeting up with him later when on this walkway of sorts between parts of the ship. And he had a rebel in chase in between us. After a bunch of yip-yap between everybody really accomplishing nothing, an explosion then occurs out of completely nowhere, and it was genuinely one of the most unexpected moments in a game I've ever played in my life. Yes, our homie did die from that, and our main character was not happy. Turns out that dude meant far more to Sir Galahad here than we knew. Rest in peace, brother. So this is like the turning point of the game now, and our main character knows that some shit is up. So for the next few chapters, he goes on a bit of a rampage, just trying to kill every single rebel he can because he thinks they are the reason for all of this death and conflict in the game. So during a mission later, we have to save Lord Hastings yet again. We end up not returning to base after completing it, and you just have to keep on fighting the rebels until they are all dead. Rip and tear, baby.
Steven here. Hello, Steven.
Now while doing this, I finally did begin to get some trophies, and I got 3 pretty much back to back. First was called From the Hip from killing 25 enemies without aiming, which is just by hip fire or blind fire. Then I got collateral damage from killing 3 enemies with a single explosion, and I got this by using a very OP grenade / missile launcher in this section, where they gave you such dangerous weapons to use. And finally, the last one was called Modern Marvels from killing 40 enemies with science weapons. I'm not sure what exactly counts for this, but pretty much any gun that does something cool like this grenade missile thing. But after that, you then exterminate even more rebels, until ultimately we saved one and then beat the balls off of him to get him to say where their leader is. And it turns out she was at a place called White Hill, which is that same brothel we went to forever ago. How convenient. So then you go there and get confronted by this one girl. However, she's actually not the leader of the rebels and just the queen's guard woman. But then we do get to meet the actual queen a moment later of the rebels. And she basically just tried to get us to join her because we apparently aren't enemies. The hybrids are and whoever is helping them. So he didn't really believe her, which in turn led us into following the queen through a few chapters as she showed us the conspiracy at hand to gain our trust. Now while doing this and getting to the area we need to, there of course was a lot of combat. And during it I would again thankfully get another combat trophy called Between the Eyes from just getting 100 headshot kills. Very easy trophy. I also have been trying to do this for the entire game so far, and here it is popping. Now much later in this chapter, after going through numerous combat encounters, you end up reaching the cargo bay, which holds 2 giant rooms full of wooden crates destined for the Americas from the major company which rules this world basically. And we end up cracking one of them open to see what these people are shipping, only to find out that it's other people. Vampires at that. And this is when the conspiracy falls down upon us. Basically what's happening is somebody inside the order and the major trading company is a half-breed, and they are organizing to send other half-breeds over to America to basically just take it over. Because as this game is set in 1886, America is still very much a new land to, conquer. But we can't be having that because then an all-out war would occur. So we then tried our best to burn down this entire shipping dock, and during it also got another trophy, again from combat and from getting 75 kills with pistols. Very easy, and pretty much all of the combat trophies in this game are easy if you can't already tell. Now after that, you then fight a few hybrid werewolves, and it's all good fun, but all in all we made it out alive. Now after seeing all of this and having quite the insane revelation, we went to go ask one of our friends Lucan if he could help us sneak into the trading company's headquarters to see what they are hiding, and because he, like Loki, does work there and he knows the ins and outs, he ended up agreeing after some convincing, and we were then on our way. This area for like the first 70% of it is all just stealth, by the way, and it's pretty brutal. If you ever get seen at all, you just get shot and die in the spot, so yeah, be careful. Now, I did die a lot here because, I famously suck at stealth games, but this wasn't really an issue because it also allowed me to farm out some stealth kills on accident. And I got the trophy from getting 7 stealth kills right here in the midst of attempting to stealth myself. So yeah, then I did complete that stealth area, and we ultimately meet up with the Rebel Queen again, who was also here because, she just felt like tagging along, I guess. And after that, I then ran into another collectible I needed to grab, and this one ended up being my final object collectible type, getting me the power of observation trophy from finding all of the objects. Shout out to PS5 Trophies video guide on this, by the way. Now then you do make it inside this place finally, and there is, as you would expect, a lot of hostiles. And while fighting, I would get another combat trophy, and this one I directly did go for because, I thought it was kind of funny, but it was called Box Your Ears from killing 15 enemies with melee attacks. And I gotta say, this game somehow manages to perfectly play a little cutscene in motion for every single melee attack you do, despite the angle you run into the enemy. I was low-key mesmerized by how they did this, so I just kept on doing them until the trophy popped. Round of applause for this mechanic. I haven't really seen it since then, and it's 2026 now. What are we doing? That's what I'm saying. Now again, in another combat section still in the same area, they gave us an actual grenade launcher this time and not some hybrid thing. And this would also end up being my final weapon in the game I haven't yet used. So upon getting a kill with it, I got the well-rounded trophy from killing an enemy with every weapon. Easy peasy baby. Now after that, we ran into the biggest shock of the game and finally found out what's truly happening here. Lord Hastings, who is this ruler and also an ally of the Order, pretty much he guides the Order and how to act, ends up being exposed as a hybrid himself, and also, I guess, Jack the Ripper, which is kind of funny. Huh? And our boy Lucan, who was here helping us find something, also is a hybrid. So these two are pretty much working together to ruin the Order and cause chaos in this world. They also end up pinning absolutely everything on us, which is why we were getting tortured in the very beginning of the game. Before that, however, they threw us into one more combat encounter against a ton of hybrids, and while fighting them, I ended up landing 10 total kills on hybrids, or I guess Lycans, which is their technical name. But that was a trophy called the Hunter right here. Now we then get caught by the police, and absolutely everything is pinned on us. We were brought before the Council of the Order, murder. Everyone voted guilty, even our homie who knew deep down that we weren't. The betrayal I feel right now is unreal. The torture flashback happens, but then we finally reach the future. And it's looking pretty bleak. For multiple minutes and 2 weeks of in-game time, our boy was just fighting for his life until finally pulling through. We then just kind of jump back into it, and our goal is to actually barge into the Order hideout and save Tesla because he is still there, and he was the biggest help in saving our life, so we kind of owe it to him. So for the rest of this game, that is our goal, save Tesla. Now, plans do change at the end, as you can imagine, but before that, I basically just got a ton of trophies leading up to the end because there is, again, numerous combat encounters and the final collectibles of the game. Getting all the newspapers first before anything else right here, and here's that trophy pop. In the next combat encounter, I then got the marksman trophy from getting 5 kills with a headshot during Black Sight. This is sort of an ultimate ability that just slows down time a lot. It's like that one in Red Dead Redemption 2. However, I didn't really use it much because it's low-key kind of goofy in this game. The trophy popped right here anyways. And literally a minute later, I found the last phonograph cylinder, which is just another type of collectible for another trophy. And in the following combat encounter, I then got that fire gun again, and I used it a lot because this counts for the Up in Flames trophy from incinerating 15 enemies. And I would also get that right here, thankfully, so no cleanup post story for me. After that, I then found my last collectible of the game, which was related to the photos and documents, getting the trophy detail orientated, and then Inspector First Class when finding all items. And then we reached the ending of the game. Yes, we do save Tesla despite him being a bit roughed up from Lucan, who was still in his lab. So then you go fight him. This motherfucker betrayed not only us, but the entire Order, and yeah, fuck this guy. We also forced him to come out into his real form, and then you have a very long fight against him, which was honestly pretty hard, but it's nothing too crazy. So long story short, we win the fight, and he shrunk back down to human form, dying in a corner pretty much. However, before that, his father and the leader of the Order, like the overall leader, shows up and basically confesses he knew the entire time. So he knowingly put the Order at risk by allowing a hybrid inside of it, allowing the conspiracy to grow, and also allowing us to be punished ruthlessly for months for it. That is crazy work, but hey, he gave us a gun to shoot his son, so I guess all is forgiven. And then we did do that and kill the guy with the credits rolling. Just kidding. It actually wasn't quite over, and there was then one more scene in the game, but all I had was us just saying that we are not a knight anymore, and this was just kind of a teaser for a sequel, which unfortunately never happened. And then it does end for good with the trophy pop from the story's completion. This is probably the most frustrating ending to a game I've ever seen. Like in the past, there's been some bad endings on bad games, but this game was actually very fun and really good, and then it just suddenly ends on a very big cliffhanger. God be damned, thanks to the poor performance of this game, we let it fail, and yeah, the studio shut down after, so that sucks, I'm not gonna lie. A 30-hour long game of this quality in an open world or something like that would be absolutely insane to say the least. But that's it for stage 1 of the platinum and the game. So I real fast began stage 2, the cleanup, and this just has us going back and getting any trophies we missed. I didn't get 4 total, and they were all just combat trophies. This also took like 10 minutes total to do, so very fast cleanup. But first I got the discombobulated trophy from actually loading up the ending chapter again, because right at the start of it you get given the M2 Falcon, which has a stun feature on it, and then you can just stun the same enemy over and over and over until it pops, which is what I did, and I got that trophy pop right here. I then got the undivided attention trophy from killing 25 enemies during Black Sight, and I just sort of did this as much as possible in the next few combat encounters still in this mission because there was quite a few of them, and I also did get the trophy nearly right away, so GG's. I then loaded up a chapter from forever ago, which was ideal for the highly volatile trophy from detonating 10 powder kegs. Before doing that though, I got the brilliant trophy from throwing my own grenade up in the sky and then shooting it midair during Black Sight. Very easy, and here it is popping. Now finally, the last trophy of this game, highly volatile, from detonating 10 powder kegs. And once I ran to this area, I had 3 of them total, I think, and funnily enough, upon me shooting the 3rd one, I got the trophy pop, so no checkpoint resets here, and here is that platinum trophy on the Order 1886. So that was the Order 1886 platinum trophy experience. I genuinely think this game is a banger. It definitely lived up to the hype I heard from some viewers, and yeah, it's just sad to see that it didn't perform well and we won't ever see a sequel. Lost media at some point. Rest in peace, seriously. But that's all. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out, boys.